It is time for game number 2 of the 2-game doubleheader, as the Falmouth Commodores are hosting the Orleans Firebirds for game number 2 of the doubleheader, as they fell in game 1 with a final score of 3-2. Alongside Carter Bainbridge and Trey Redfield, Logan Soforenko with you. It's going to be Juaron Watts-Brown, the starting pitcher from Long Beach State. He had himself an outing in Harwich this past Tuesday, where he went 3 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. As we welcome you inside, doubleheaders are always a fun time, Carter, as the Orleans Firebirds took game 1 3-2. Juaron Watts-Brown has some filthy stuff, tossed a no-hitter against UC Riverside, and Trey has more on that as we send it down to the third member of our team, Trey Redfield. Trey, what do you got on Juaron Watts-Brown? All right, we're going to stay up here in the booth as Carter, the Orleans Firebirds struck late in the first game. It was basically back in the 6th inning. Very fine play by the shortstop, Alex Mooney, to make a pick and keep it in the infield, but the run did end up scoring. It's going to be up to Juaron Watts-Brown to deliver a quality start, and the bullpen's got to clean it up if they want to win this game.
Yeah, on a cold day, the Commodore bats went cold once again. Only 2 runs on 5 hits in game 1. And that big blow at the top of the 6th inning by Orleans that you mentioned, a 2-run double by Nate Furman after a couple walks, and that nice fielder's choice by Mooney that could have possibly saved the inning and been a major play in that game. Instead, it kind of went for naught as the Doors gave up the lead and couldn't mount anything in the bottom of the 7th as Alex Mooney nearly hit a walk-off partner, but missed it by just a few feet.
Right off the end of the bat, and it stayed in play. We're underway here in game 2. Watts-Brown the pitcher, and he deals strike 1. Umpires staying on the same crew, just different roles, that is. The home plate umpire for game 1 was Ryan DeMare. Honeyman on an 0-1 pitch misses that one, 0-2.
I was excited to see Watts-Brown from our home camera angles. We got the center field cameras. We can get a little better look at this right-hander after he made his first start of the summer on the road at Harwich. And you're going to get a good view of pitches like that. A dirty breaking ball low and away from the right-handed hitting Honeyman.
Watts-Brown quickly had 0-2, and he shakes off today's game 2 catcher, Cozart. Fouled off of Cozart's masks. Cozart, very electric last night. Very happy that the Commodores came away with that victory. Had himself a double. Made some very, 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 very fine picks behind home plate. A couple that got by him, but some of those that are just completely out of his reach. He's been fun to watch behind the dish.
Cozart last night had one big swing of the bat, a double in the 9th inning, but it was the swings he didn't take that made a lot of the difference last night. 3 walks, later came around to score in the 8th. He showed off a lot of plate discipline. Big key for him after getting off to a slow start at the plate this summer. Didn't appear in game 1 today, but now he's catching Watts-Brown here in game 2.
The 0-2. Grounded right to short. Maui Ahuna, the shortstop for game 2. Can't make the play in time. It's an infield single for Honeyman. And partner, we saw this yesterday in Wareham. A couple of infield singles that could have been routine outs, but Ahuna took a little bit longer than he should have.
Yeah, a couple plays against Wareham back in the 1st inning. 2 infield hits that scored runs on consecutive at-bats. And then a 3rd one in the 2nd inning as Ahuna played short against the Gateman and had a really tough time dealing with some softly hit balls and some of them deep in the hole. And I think he might have been thinking about those throws as he double clutched and couldn't throw out Honeyman on that ground ball.
Cut on and miss for strike 1. On Juaron Watts-Brown, he was credited with the loss in Harwich on Tuesday, but a very, very fine outing. We mentioned did not walk a batter. Wilson digs in from GCU. Behind in the count, 0-1. That misses outside, 1-1.
I was on sideline duty for Watts-Brown's first outing of the summer, our field reporter, I should say, so I wasn't calling his pitches, but I did get a chance to watch him. Didn't walk a batter in that game. He was had some controlled wildness. He would miss and the Harwich Mariners wouldn't offer, but he kept them on their heels.
High pop-up. And Kelly Nicholson having a funny encounter with Jacob Cozart. Says it's out, 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 and then Cozart goes, I believe you. So it's now 2 strikes. Wilson did not have a hit in the first game. He did reach via a walk. That was back in the 4th inning. Behind in the count 1-2. The 1-2 goes all the way to the backstop, and Honeyman will advance. That seems like a eerie sight, or a familiar sight, I should say, as that's how the Hyannis Harbor Hawks walked off last week.
Yeah, wild pitches aren't going to sit the same the rest of the summer after the doors went down in Hyannis. Watts-Brown's got an electric arm, but it was pitches like that against Harwich that kept him from going further in that game. He was a little bit wild then.
The 2-2. He's able to, looks like he fouled that one to stay alive.
Barely got a piece of it.
You hear the good job, Willie, just to stay alive, and not the traditional swing you take with 2 strikes on a pitch that was not one you want to chase on 2 strikes, just to stay alive, to foul off. We saw Braden Taylor do that a couple of times in Hyannis on Friday. We'll do the 2-2 again. Grounded to Ahuna. Takes a weird hop over to first, and he gets Wilson. Honeyman advances over to third, and he's 90 feet away. So it's a 6-3 ground out. Hey, it's time to take a quick listen to the Falmouth Commodore defense. Braden Taylor, who DH'd in the first game, is at third. Maui Ahuna, the shortstop. Colby Haltzer moves from third to second today in this game number 2. Jacob Walsh over at first. Outfield left to right. Kyle Russell is in left. And then Andrew Pinckney, he's in center. Then Anthony McKenzie playing right field for the first time this season, and what he told us, the first time since he was a kid. Breaking ball misses upstairs, and of course I say that because McKenzie has played 2 games in left field, and in both those games has committed an error. But he said it's getting used to the surface of the ground. He's getting used to it, not like the infield dirt. The 1-0. Spoiled foul, 1-1.
Now, Commodores and the Firebirds going with a little bit of a different look in Game 2 compared to the guys they trotted out in the first matchup this afternoon. Cozart behind the plate for the Doors and a couple different outfielders. Britcher and Factor, who started Game 1 on the bench, as well as Collins. So they're rolling with an entirely different outfield.
1-1. That's in there for strike 2.
And strike 2 on a hitter. You have to figure this is Watts-Brown's comfort zone. 15 games out at Long Beach State, struck out 111 in 73 and a third inning. So he's got strikeout stuff. Really electric arm.
On a 1-2 pitch, Watts-Brown gets him swinging. 2 gone here in the top of the first. And I was able to watch his bullpen with our beat reporter, Tommy Mumal. He said that he was feeling it. He was doing bullpen activities before the season started, and he just looked like he was going to the outside part of the strike zone, and he was getting a good feel for that breaking ball. The first pitch to Kevin Sim is in there for strike 1. Kevin Sim hit cleanup in the first game, and he is hitting cleanup in this second game as Watts-Brown tries to strand Honeyman at third. Check, they did not go 1-1.
Well, Watts-Brown does have a good breaking ball to start things here in this inning. He threw one to Keishel that the Orleans left fielder couldn't make his mind up on until it was too late. He's thrown a couple for strikes early in the count, trying to retire Sim for the first time today.
The 1-1 gets on top of him. It's 2-1. A couple of breaking balls we've seen today that have kind of gotten in the batter's box. We saw one when Colby Halter was in the batter's box. He was able to get out of it.
I've seen some guys miss high in the zone. Levi Wells was the same way when he first came in Game 1.
blown right by him, 2-2. And now Watts-Brown trying to stand Honeyman over at third, as he would be the first runner left on base for the Orleans Firebirds here in game 2. The 2-2. Good stop there by Cozart. We've been saying that combination of words a lot this season. The NC State catcher did not catch in game 1. Was the new fella from Louisville, Jack Payton. So the count is now full to Sim. The payoff pitch. Cut on and miss. Watts-Brown struts to the dugout as Honeyman is stranded at third. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Scoreless.
Hey there, Commodore fans. Thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll doors.
Back here at Guv Fuller Field, we are scoreless. Watts-Brown with back-to-back strikeouts to get out of the inning. And Carter, it's going to be Ben Shields, the lefty, and that's not a promising sight for the Falmouth offense.
Well, first look we've gotten at Shields so far this season, he's going to be opposing Watts-Brown, who had an electric top of the first inning. That strikeout to Sim had the first baseman all kinds of tied up with a breaking ball. But so far this season, Shields with 1 outing, 2 innings, 1 hit, didn't allow a run, struck out 1, no walks, got the save. So this is first start of the year. Shields made it a relief appearance against Wareham 5 days ago. So unusual spot for him this summer, although he did start at George Mason University this spring exclusively as a grad student. 4.89 ERA and 42 1/3. 23 earned, struck out 37. Otherwise kept the ball in the yard for the Patriots. Now trying to do the same for Orleans on what has been a cold, chilly afternoon from start to finish.
Hello, Anthony and Jake, as they wave to our cameras. So now Maui Ahuna will lead things off. Maui Ahuna, who did not play in game 1, is looking to get something rolling here because he has struggled mightily at the plate. So now it's 1-0 to Ahuna. Ahuna, who struck out 4 times in his first appearance of the season on all 4 at-bats. The 1-0. Hit the other way and slicing foul.
Yeah, Ahuna's certainly off to a difficult start with the bat this summer. We were really looking forward to him coming in. He's had some good at-bats, but a lot of them have ended poorly. 1 for 11 coming into today with 10 strikeouts, so he had the base hit. Every other time he's been up to the plate that didn't end up with a walk, he's been sat down on strikes.
2-1 now to Ahuna. Ahuna, as we mentioned, at Kansas, but transferring to Tennessee from Hilo, Hawaii. On a 2-1 pitch, Maui Ahuna grounds that one to second. Rodden retires Ahuna. 1 gone. The Orleans defense, Baquero is at third. Short, they have Wilson. Rodden over at second. Sim continues to play first like he did in game 1. Outfield left to right. Keishel in left. Honeyman in center. Pennington in right. with Burns doing the catching for the right-hander Ben Shields. It's going to bring up Colby Halter. Colby Halter, who had a home run back against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Lefty on lefty. Shields taking his nice time. That's a ball. Halter showed bunt, then pulled it back.
Now, Halter in game one had maybe the best game out of any Commodore at the plate. 1 for 1 with a long single that he tried to stretch into a double unsuccessfully, and then 2 walks. Stranded at third. Both of those times he reached base via the walk.
The 1-0 broken back into center field, cut off by Wilson over to first, and he got him. Firewoods galore. And there are 2 gone here in the bottom of the first inning.
Now, that's not an easy play by any means by Wilson, who had to come over from shortstop to his left, basically behind the second base bag, as Halter shattered his bat basically right down the middle, almost like a split in a bowling lane. Just destroyed that bat and nearly got to first, but was beaten by a step by that throw.
So now here's Braden Taylor, and that thing went right in half. Right into 2, clean. No, was it broken? That thing flew. Taylor, lefty on lefty. Breaking ball is sent into left center field. Keishel makes the catch. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the top of the second inning, still scoreless. We'll be right back. Hey Commodore fans, do you want to have your name placed into Falmouth Commodore history? Arnie Allen Diamond at Guv Fuller Field has a spot for you. For the first time since before the pandemic began, you have the ability to purchase a brick with your name on it and have it placed right on the walkway that leads to the merchandise booth located directly behind home plate. To find out more about how you can purchase a brick, visit FalmouthCommodores.com/buy-a-brick program or scan the QR code that you see on your screen today.
Top of the second here at Guv Fuller Field, and Juaron Watts-Brown is out for his second inning of work. The last time we saw him on the mound was starting against Harwich at White House Field on Tuesday. We saw Juaron get in a couple of jams, but also get out of those jams. So the mindset today for Watts-Brown is 2 words: strike 1. It's up to Juaron to find the strike zone early, bear down, and take control of his at-bats coming up, because it's important to start with the strike zone early and get right into it. Guys, back to you.
Well, Trey, you're absolutely right, and I feel like that's the mindset for every pitcher. Strike 1 just being so important, but Juaron Watts-Brown, who relies so heavily on getting ahead in the count, was able to strike out the last 2 batters he faced back in the top half of the first inning.
He worked around a leadoff infield hit, didn't let it bother him, instead got a ground ball, and then struck out the last 2 batters, 3 and 4 hitters for Orleans in pretty impressive fashion.
So that'll bring up Bennett Lee, who on the first pitch takes strike 1. Bennett Lee is DHing. The sophomore from Tulane just completed that sophomore season. Hit 4 home runs down in Louisiana as he takes another breaking ball in there for strike 2. And to Trey's point, Carter, strike 1 being so important, strike 2 being even more important.
I was more impressed with strike 2 right there. Big breaking ball, just nasty, snapped it off right into the zone. And if that pitch is working for Watts-Brown and he can throw that for a strike, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Firebirds to mount anything today.
The 0-2. Grounded the other way. Halter moving to his left, makes the play. 1 gone in the top of the second.
And he went to it again for that ground ball, to the breaking ball again. The pitch I remember most from Watts-Brown, watching him on the road at Harwich, was his fastball. I remember noticeable velocity from him. It just seemed like he was throwing very hard. And the Mariners had a tough time with it at times, although they did touch him up for 2 runs. But today, if Watts-Brown has his secondary stuff working, you saw him go to it early in the count and then again on 2 strikes. So he must be feeling pretty confident about what looks like a slider out of the hand.
He will face the left-handed hitter, second baseman Brock Rodden. Grounds it to the right side. Halter makes the play. 2 gone in the top of the second inning.
Again, not hard contact off of Watts-Brown. Usually if you're a strikeout pitcher, you get your outs in the air, but Firebirds have yet to hit a fly ball off of this right-hander. 2 strikeouts, 3 groundouts, both of them in this inning, weakly hit to second base.
So that's going to bring up Garrett Pennington. First pitch he sees, misses inside. You can hear the awns from Falmouth Commodores dugout. Filthy breaking ball on the first pitch there from Watts-Brown. The 1-0. Blown right by him, 1-1.
That breaking ball was filthy. I'm still thinking about it a little bit. I think Pennington got the benefit there of a little bit of a tight corner. Watts-Brown put that right in the zone. Didn't get the call.
Cozart unable to pick that one. He's had to be very busy back there.
Well, Cozart's been solid defensively. He was about above average throwing out base runners at NC State, so he's a good defensive catcher. Plays tough competition down there against ACC teams. You notice something with Watts-Brown. He's really kicking down the dirt on the mound right now.
Breaking ball is cut on and missed. We talked about it in game 1. How low will that divot be right in front of the mound? Watts-Brown has 2 strikeouts already. The 2-2. That's a foul ball. So Watts-Brown, the only hit he's allowed was that infield single, which basically was just a throw that didn't get to first base in time.
Yeah, a ball that wasn't hit especially hard to Ahuna, but a play that he would have liked to have made.
He struck him out. Watts-Brown gets his 3rd, and we go to the bottom of the second, still scoreless.
So Falmouth Commodore, be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll doors.
Back here at Guv Fuller Field, you can create some great memories with host families. Notable one was a position player with the St. Louis Cardinals that was in town yesterday, played for the Wareham Gatemen. And Carter, not to deliver some bad news, but the Cotuit Cavaliers have advanced to 6-0, and you know how they did it? On a walk-off wild pitch.
I thought you were about to tell me that they stole home to walk things off. They've been stealing just a crazy number of bases so far early this season, but I guess now Commodores aren't the only team to suffer that fate. Whoever opposed Cotuit today now shares that unfortunate distinction.
Oh, nothing like Cape League baseball.
I feel like you see something new every day, though. New endings every time, kind of like that Mooney fly ball to end game 1.
Jack Payton takes ball 1. He's DHing in game number 2. They did it against the Brewster Whitecaps.
Team that came into today leading the Eastern Division.
Popped up into right towards the line. Now foul. Making the catch is Sim. 1 gone. Sim, the first baseman from University of San Diego. Been 4 up and 4 down thus far for the Commodore offense.
Yeah, they haven't really been able to do anything since game 1 against right-handed starter Cole Stallings, who took the hill for the first game today. Went only 2+ innings, got a quick hook. And after that, the Doors couldn't do anything against the Orleans bullpen, and it's just carried over into this second game.
So now here is Jacob Walsh, the first baseman from Oregon. Takes the ball high and tight. Jacob Walsh back in the first game. 0 for 3. Line to the shortstop and struck out twice. On a 1-0 pitch, Walsh grounds this one in play. Sim fires over to first, and making the step on the bag as the pitcher Shields, and there are 2 gone.
Well, Walsh had a little bit of bad luck in game 1. He hit about a 100-mile-an-hour line drive to short for an out, and then had the misfortune of coming up against 2 really tough left-handed relievers down the stretch. Struck out both times, and this time out at first thanks to probably one of the more underrated players in this doubleheader, and that's Kevin Sim over there at first base for Orleans. 1 for 2 today with 3 walks, and he's been involved on the defensive end. Pretty sure-handed stuff from him over at first base.
So now here is the center fielder Pinckney. On the first pitch, takes ball 1. Pinckney did not play in game 1. Cross Factor played center field. Pinckney was in the outfield last night as well. On a 1-0 pitch, Pinckney takes ball 2.
Well, good thing to get ahead in the count for Pinckney, who's had the strikeout bug since he came over from Alabama. Pinckney so far 2 for 12 with 8 punch-outs so far this summer. He and Ahuna have kind of been struggling in that category more than others.
The 2-0. Broken bat into right center. This is trouble, and it drops for a base hit. Pinckney catches him napping, and he's into second. A 2-out double for Andrew Pinckney. What a play on the bases to take second.
And not hard hit off the bat of Pinckney by any means, but when you put it in play, good things tend to happen. Just hit out there to no man's land into right field. The Commodores have had their fair share of bloop singles so far this summer. And just to add insult to injury, Brock Rodden, the second baseman, ran out for that one, and as he dove, it hit him right in the face on the first bounce from the ground.
So now here's McKenzie, the switch-hitting right fielder in the righty's batter's box today. He pinch hit in game 1 and extended the game with a base hit to right field. He'll take ball 1 outside.
And McKenzie, who played hero against Wareham last night, only given 1 at bat in game 1, but made the most of it. Singled to extend the bottom of the 7th, and that was right before Alex Mooney came within, 5 feet of walking off game 1. Hit a towering fly ball to left field that came to rest basically on the warning track. But no dice, and the Doors now sit at 2-5 on the season, trying to split today.
The catcher from Long Beach behind the dish, Burns, talking to Shields, saying, hey, here's what we got to do with 2 outs behind in the count. On a 1-0 pitch, McKenzie spoils that one foul. Pinckney was actually taken off there, so little hit and run there, if you will.
Well, the Commodores, at the very least, are trying to get this defense to disorganize itself as a runner goes. That's one of the side effects of sending guys, is that the infield has to adjust on the fly. Sometimes hitters can find holes suddenly vacated.
2-1 now. Anthony McKenzie, we talked about it throughout the beginning parts of the year, how we had that home run at Globe Life Field. That was his first career college home run, and it took place at a major league ballpark. Sam Houston State plays in that Texas tournament every year. Ahead in the count, 2-1. Another broken bat. A crossover to first, and McKenzie is retired. And if we had a tally for how many broken bats we've seen today, we might be rich as we head to the top of the third inning. Still no score.
Commodores fans, sharpen your baseball skills with some of America's finest players from the best college programs in the country. Clinic attendees will have opportunities to work on hitting, base running, infield and outfield play, as well as pitching and catching. Attendees will also participate in Commodores Chat, where coaches and players discuss topics like sportsmanship, academics, teamwork, and other issues important to being an all-around player. Clinics are offered Tuesday, June 21st through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. 3 separate clinics will be offered for ages 5 to 14.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field. As a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Mass State Lottery is celebrating the games we love playing, from the baseball diamond to the many lottery games that help support all 351 cities and towns across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So, here's to 50 years of winning and 50 more. The Mass State Lottery. Still no score in the top of the third inning. Time to announce our umpires here in Game 2. Ryan Demare over at third, Larry Garcia at first. Same home plate umpire as game number 1. Watts-Brown been dealing, Carter.
He has, and just looking at the stuff he's showcased, not only in warm-ups, but the last 2 innings, you get the feeling that he's a little bit sharper this time around than he was his first outing, and that's bad news for these Firebirds hitters because it certainly spelled bad news for all the opponents of Long Beach State this spring, in particular UC Riverside on that one afternoon.
The first pitch to Baquero misses inside. Baquero entered game 1 as a defensive replacement. Ahead in the count 1-0. Pulls that one off of the glove of Braden Taylor. Nearly a great play, but it will be a single for Baquero.
Tough play for Taylor, diving to his right towards the line. Was able to get a glove on it, so no shot for that ball to become a double, but there's hard contact off of Watts-Brown. He's going to have to work around it now with Connor Burns.
Well, this is something you love seeing on the Cape. A little smile on Watts-Brown before he delivers this pitch. He's smiling right now, facing his teammate from Long Beach State, who shows bunt, and it goes all the way to the backstop. Baquero will be over at second as that is ruled a wild pitch.
Well, Watts-Brown's got to tighten things up a little here now in the top of the third. He's been rolling up to this point. Burns is one of his Long Beach State teammates, so probably something out of the twilight zone here for Watts-Brown. A strange feeling indeed, but he's tried that backup breaking ball a few times and hasn't gotten a strike yet. Otherwise had good stuff, good slider. Gone upstairs with the fastball to get some ugly swings, and at least so far he's tried to get his footing on the mound. Looks a little bit wet out there right now.
The 1-0. Did he go around? He did not. 2-0 the count. Connor Burns, 149 average this year in his sophomore season. Not the best numbers. 8 runs batted in, 3 home runs, 1 double, walked 3 times, struck out 32 times. The 2-0. Pop up behind home plate. And it's out of play as it's right on top of the press box. And here come the kids with the gloves. And we can hear that thud from here.
You can see them scurrying back behind the box to try to get their hands on a ball. A fair number of people here today for this doubleheader on Father's Day. Of course, the weather didn't cooperate. It is kind of cold today, so not beautiful weather for a baseball game, but there are some people who have braved both of them.
The 2-1. That's in there for strike 2.
That's been his best pitch so far today, and it's not close. He's gone to it early in the count. He's gone to it to get back in the count. Let's see if he goes to it to try to finish off Burns.
Vaquero over at second. The 2-2. Grounded to short. Ahuna goes over to first. And Vaquero is now at third, 90 feet away. So one gone. Hey, Father's Day, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my dad who's watching at home. Grew up going to Orleans games. Said before the Firebirds, they were the Cardinals. So just wanted to wish my pops, Nick Soforenko, a happy Father's Day. Hope you're enjoying the game, Dad. So that's going to bring up the leadoff batter, Travis Honeyman. And he's been the toughest out for any pitching staff on the Cape thus far through 2022.
At least on Orleans. The Commodores held him in check in game 1, 0 for 2 with a walk, and they also hit him once.
He takes ball 1.
But this is a guy who's off to a red-hot start, which is even more impressive when you consider just how many really good collegiate hitters struggled mightily in the early part of this season. Team-wide hitting slumps went on for at least the first 3 games. Some teams still dealing with it into today. Orleans as a team barely hitting over 200. Falmouth only over 170 by a couple percentage points.
Good pitch there from Watts-Brown. It's now 1-1.
Well, that's been the big curve that he's tried to throw a couple different times inside to right-handed hitters. Hasn't gotten the call previously from home plate umpire Joe Labella, but he located that one so well there that Honeyman couldn't do anything with it.
1-1. Oh, what a pitch from Watts-Brown. It's 1-2.
Just nasty. I mean, that breaker has got a lot of bite early on. And that's not the only one he's throwing. He's thrown a little tighter slider. That's a little bit of a bigger breaking ball that he's gone exclusively inside to righties with. And I'm interested to see now if he goes a little bit further down in the zone with it, get him to chase.
On a 1-2, Watts-Brown misses outside, 2-2. Well, we saw this back in the first inning. He stranded Honeyman at third. Now Honeyman, the batter, can bring in Vaquero to give Orleans the lead in a scoreless ball game in game 2 of this 7-inning doubleheader.
And as a strikeout pitcher, you certainly like Watts-Brown's chances to do just that.
The 2-2. Into left, Russell makes the catch. The throw is offline, and the Firebirds are on top 1-0 on a sac fly. I got to give credit to Kyle Russell for making that catch and getting that throw in there. Hasn't played the outfield at all this season. Nevertheless, Orleans on top 1-0.
Yeah, the Doors have really shuffled the chairs around in this second game with an entirely new outfield. 2 guys in the corner spots making their positional debuts. Russell over in left and McKenzie in right. So you have to imagine outfield defense is going to be a little bit of a question mark in this game. Strong throw by Russell, who typically plays third and short.
Another fine breaking ball there from Watts-Brown. And that comes with playing a doubleheader. You mentioned it before we came on the air, saying how that just happens, the shuffling, because you got to get guys in there. You got guys that have been working the game before. Watts-Brown just feasting on that breaking ball.
Well, Jacob Wilson's about to shuffle out of this batter's box if he can't get a better swing on these breaking balls from Watts-Brown. He has just totally gotten him out in front both times.
0-2. This is outside.
And it's interesting to me, as someone who hasn't seen a ton of Watts-Brown, either at Long Beach State or so far this summer, he's kind of pitching backwards as to what you typically expect from a lot of strikeouts for a guy like this.
Just stays alive. Yeah, talk about Watts-Brown at Long Beach State had that 4-4 record. Not necessarily a contact guy, but he did have a good amount of strikeouts.
As ERA went down as the season went on, allowed opposing hitters to hit only 194. You look at the strikeout numbers and you expect him to have an overpowering fastball, but it's been the secondary stuff that's worked for him so far today.
1-2. Grounded foul. And you got to give credit to Watts-Brown because as you get later in the season, that's when the Big West play comes in because that's when he starts playing teams that are in the Big West Conference Obviously, you have Fullerton, Hawaii, UC Santa Barbara, all the good clubs in that conference. Another 1-2. 2-2 now. Well, he is trailing 1-0, hoping for some offensive support, but it seems he's been feeling it up there on the mound.
Now, that wild pitch in this inning is really the key pitch, because if he had gotten the ground ball from Burns, it probably would have been a double play.
2-2 has popped up. Heading towards the Falmouth dugout and out of play. We'll do the 2-2 again. And it is starting to get eerie similar to what we had last night at Wareham. As the clouds are coming in, the wind's coming, temperatures are dropping. Watts-Brown trying to stay warm up there, and he was trying to do the same last night in his hoodie. Another 2-2. High drive to left. Russell moving back to the wall, and it's gone. Jacob Wilson makes it 2-0 Orleans.
Well, not much doubt about it off the bat of Wilson. 0 for 3 in game 1, but coming on in game 2 in a big way. Watts-Brown just left him totally flat-footed in that at-bat the first 2 pitches, but Wilson looked more comfortable as it went on. Put a charge into that ball over the left field fence, and it was a no-doubter right off the bat for his first home run of the summer.
Well, we saw it in game 1. They did their damage with 2 outs. They got the home run here with 2 outs. That one is torched to left and down for a base hit. Luke Keishel is on with 2 outs, and that's going to bring up Kevin Sim, who, in the words of Carter Bainbridge, one of the most underrated players in this doubleheader for the Orleans Firebirds.
Well, certainly for a team that hasn't had a lot of things go its way early this season. Entering today, the Firebirds were 1-4-1, down near the bottom of the league in hitting. But Kevin Sim has really helped out today by just taking pitches. Walked 3 times game 1, gotten on base.
Sim takes ball 1 outside. And that was a really good at-bat that was worked by Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, fell behind in the count 0-2 and then took a couple pitches, fouled off a couple more, and finally got one to his liking and didn't miss it.
That one is spoiled foul by Sim. Sim struck out to end the top of the first inning. The Orleans Firebirds rocking their red camo vests today. On a 1-1 pitch, Sim. Check, and he did not go. 2-1. As they appealed down to first to the first base umpire for game number 2, Larry Garcia.
And as we look down to first, you see Keishel over there, who stole 30 bases this spring. 16th highest total in the nation.
2-1, there he goes. Throw over to second. Not picked up by Ahuna. And it's a stolen base for Keishel. So the count's now 3-1. And a runner's in scoring position, and Watts-Brown's got to be real careful here on a hitter's count. With 2 outs, he's already given up the lead and a solo shot in this inning.
Well, Watts-Brown has to refocus here a little bit and dig deep for a pitch to get out of this jam.
On a 3-1, Sim takes strike 2. So another count that goes late, whether that be 2-2 or 3-2.
Things have kind of gone wrong for Watts-Brown in this inning ever since the Honeyman sac fly. He got ahead of Wilson quickly, and then I think just lost a little bit of that command, a little bit of the focus.
The 3-2, did he go around? He did. They say he went around. It's a strikeout. Throw over to first in time. But it's 2-0 Orleans as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Falmouth still with just 1 hit.
What are you most looking forward to this season?
I'm just looking forward to, I mean, it's obvious, but just the games, you know, seeing some great baseball, some great talent, and working with all these interns and really just learning, you know.
I'm just excited to get to know everyone, do some fun social media stuff, make a lot of TikToks, and watch some baseball.
I'm looking forward to spending time with all of the other great interns, looking forward to watching good baseball, spending time around the field, and being in Falmouth again.
It was just such a great experience last year. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, it's the best players in the country, and the opportunity to cover them is awesome.
The Falmouth Commodores trail 2-0 as we are in the bottom of the third inning alongside Trey Redfield, our field reporter, and Carter Bainbridge, today's color commentator. Logan Soforenko with you. Falmouth Commodores have the day off tomorrow, but they look to head into that off day with at least a split doubleheader.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to come back to split today. Orleans came back against the Doors in Game 1 with that 2-run top of the 6th to steal away a win. But now the Firebirds answering back early with a pair. Sacrifice fly by Honeyman and the solo shot by Wilson one batter later. The Doors have some work to do, and they're going to have to get it done with an offense that has gone pretty much radio silent since the third inning of Game 1.
Leading off for the Falmouth Commodores, the catcher. Leading off for the Falmouth Commodores, the catcher from NC State.
So Cozart, who in his last at-bat last night had a double that, I almost just said it, a double that almost was a home run. They missed it by about a couple of feet. Shields the pitcher still for Orleans. Nice little break he got in that top of the third as Cozart takes ball 1.
And hopefully the good at-bats from Cozart carry over into today. Had pretty much a breakout performance last night with the double and the 3 walks. He looked totally in control at the plate.
On a 1-0, Cozart takes strike 1. So we talked about with the way Cozart's been behind the plate, but to your point, partner, done a very good job being selective yesterday in what he wanted to take and what he didn't want to take. The 1-1. That misses outside, 2-1.
And I think that just comes back to comfort. These hitters finally get to dig into the box here at Guv Fuller Field a lot, and they just get used to seeing pitchers with high velo and on different kinds of stuff. You're only going to see these guys so many times, but once you get into a zone, you definitely try what you can to stay there.
2-1. Good take there by Cozart. He's back at it again, taking some good pitches.
And that lefty-lefty down and away breaking ball is what ate up the Doors in Game 1. A lot of strikeouts from these hitters later in the game as Orleans tapped into its left-handed arms in the bullpen.
3-1, Cozart draws ball 4. Little nifty move with the bat. And that's going to bring up Kyle Russell.
Cozart just looks dialed in right now. Looks like the ball just bigger to him right now, or maybe it moves a little slower in his eyes, but it's not even like he's checking his swing at these pitches. He's just taking them straight up, just spitting on some pretty good offerings from Ben Shields. And now a base runner to lead things off here in the third.
Cut on and missed by Kyle Russell. Kyle Russell has been struggling at the plate in these first couple of games. Still searching for that first base knock.
That's putting it mildly. 0 for 8 with 5 strikeouts. He's one of the only players left without a hit.
0-1. Misses outside, 1-1. Waiting on deck is Ahuna, and down in the bullpen is Drew Sommers, one of the new Falmouth Commodore pitchers they just added, the left-hander out of Central Arizona. The 1-1. 1-2 now.
And that pitch has been a problem for Russell so far this summer. The high fastball, he just hasn't really been able to lay off that pitch. A lot of hitters can't. It's a hard one to take. But consistently for Russell, he's been going up to try to get it, and he has yet to connect.
On a 1-2 pitch, Kyle Russell goes down swinging. Foul tipped into the mitt of Burns, and there's one gone.
Same pitch and roughly the same spot that he swung on for strike 2. And that's the thing with guys like Shields and pitchers around this league. Once they see that you'll chase a pitch in a certain spot, they're going to keep throwing it there until you show them that you can hit it. And for Russell, he just hasn't quite gotten it all together yet.
That was the first strikeout by Shields. Ahuna spoils that one off the netting above the Orleans dugout. So the Falmouth Commodores trailing 2-0. They were trailing a lot yesterday up until that 6th inning of Wareham. Down by 3. It was 3-0, and then Braden Taylor had a solo shot. Oh, 1 up the middle and through for a base hit. Maui Ahuna with a base knock up the middle, and the Commodores are at first and second with 1 out.
Well, Shields left one just a little bit too much over the middle of the plate. Ahuna didn't hit that with shattering force, but could dribble it up the middle for a base hit, and you take those. And for Ahuna, so far in this game, 2 balls in play, so maybe the strikeouts for him are easing finally, getting a little bit more timing at the plate and getting adjusted.
So now here is Halter, who is at second for game number 2. Lefty on lefty matchup. On the first pitch he sees. He draws ball 1. Cozart takes off, and he's out by about a mile. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 3rd. As Burns got him. Not necessarily the best, as you could say, read ball dirt.
I mean, you can try your best to be diplomatic about it, but it just wasn't a good play by Cozart to try that. You have 1 out in the inning. You have a dangerous hitter at the plate. Maybe the most difficult out in the Commodore lineup right now with Halter, putting pressure on the Orleans pitcher and just a little bit too much aggression on that ball.
On a 1-0 pitch, Colby Halter draws ball number 1 as that one gets away from Shields, or I beg your pardon, Burns, as Ahuna will be over at third, and the count's 2-0, I beg your pardon.
Shields has run into a little bit of wildness in this inning. Walked Cozart to lead things off, and he spiked a few offerings to these last couple hitters. First one a little bit too shallow for Cozart to really try what he did at third, but that one easily got Ahuna over to third base. Now a chance for Halter to drive him in.
Braden Taylor waits on deck should it get to him. On a 2-0 pitch, Halter takes strike 1. Halter's only RBI came with that solo home run.
Still, if I'm Shields, this is one of the last guys I want to face right now.
2-1. Good stop there by Burns behind the dish, and it's 3-1.
And that's pretty much the reason why. That wasn't a bad pitch, not a bad idea to throw to Halter, but he's just not swinging at junk right now. Not out of the strike zone. He walked twice in game 1, then singled his 3rd time up. Had a solid game against Wareham last night as well. Had 2 walks and a single, stole a base. He's just been all over the diamond and all over the base paths lately.
The 3-1. And the counts run full. Boy, so many full counts in these last 48 hours. Halter just trying to reach and extend the inning. Get it to Braden Taylor. Ahuna over at third. On a payoff pitch, Halter draws ball 4. Second walk for Shields. And Burns wants to switch the ball with home plate umpire. And now Braden Taylor will come on up.
I think a decision was made there on Shields and Burns' part that they were not going to give Halter anything to hit on 3 and 2. But you talk about the full counts over the past, 48 hours or so, and you have to think that finally some advice from hitting coach Ryan Eiley is starting to sink in for these Commodores. They barely walked through their first 3 games and change, but they're taking a lot of pitches and taking strikes and waiting for better pitches to hit instead of expanding the zone. And the last couple days it's paid dividends with base runners. Now they just got to cash in on the runs.
First pitch to Taylor is skied a mile high to right. Pennington is called off by the second baseman Rawdon, and he makes the catch. Shields gets out of it, and we go to the top of the fourth inning. 2-0 the score. We'll be right back.
Hey Commodores fans, sharpen your baseball skills with some of America's finest players from the best college programs in the country. Clinic attendees will have opportunities to work on hitting, base running, infield and outfield play, as well as pitching and catching. Attendees will also participate in Commodores Chat, where coaches and players discuss topics like sportsmanship, academics, teamwork, and other issues important to being an all-around player. Clinics are offered Tuesday, June 21st through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. 3 separate clinics will be offered for ages 5 to 14.
Top of the fourth inning here at Guv Fuller Field, where it's starting to get a little chilly here in Falmouth. For the second straight night, the Commodores are playing in the temperatures in the high 50s, which is a little weird knowing we're in the middle of June and we're 2 days away from the summer solstice. But talking to catcher Jacob Cozart out of NC State, he tells me this weather is nothing to him. When he was with the Wolfpack this past season, he was in Blacksburg for a weekend series against Virginia Tech, where he was catching in snow and 32-degree weather. It's a usual cold front here on Cape Cod that comes in right before the summer solstice, but for Cozart, it's just another day at the park. Guys, back up to you.
Well, it's good to know that Jacob Cozart is tougher than us, but maybe that's why he's a catcher and we're up here in a cozy press box. Carter Bainbridge along with Logan Soforenko here in the top of the fourth inning as the Falmouth Commodores try to mount a comeback here against the Orleans Firebirds, trailing 2-0. And to keep the Firebirds off the board for this frame, it's left-hander Drew Sommers, 6'3", 250-pounder from Carlsbad, California, Logan. So over there from your neck of the woods, that is pitching at Central Arizona College this spring. Appeared in 23 games, all in relief.
Yeah, the 2-2 record, 5 saves, 30 2/3 inning of work, 3.23 ERA, and the 48 punchies. As I mentioned, Carlsbad just about 20 minutes north of San Diego. Some good ball players that come from Carlsbad. Carlsbad, not necessarily a college town, but they produce good high school baseball. A couple of D1 guys transfer from Cal State San Marcos, one of the closest programs. That's a D2 program, that is. And they transfer out to the big ones. But Drew Sommers, as you mentioned, from Central Arizona in the spring, going to be a Wildcat in the fall.
He'll have to contend with some Pac-12 bats this spring. He parlayed a good spring with Central Arizona College this year into a transfer over there, and he'll be attacking these Orleans hitters, starting with designated hitter Bennett Lee. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the Firebirds in this inning. Sommers fastball slider pitcher primarily. Fastball 92 to 95. Slider low 80s with some sweeping action. First pitch to Lee is outside for ball 1.
Watts-Brown's final line, 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Did not walk a man again, and he did not hit a man.
A little bit of a mixed bag for Watts-Brown today, much like it was in his first appearance. 1-0. Swing and a miss by Lee. Late on a fastball up and away, and it's 1-1.
Falmouth with just 2 hits, trying to keep it to within 2 runs in the early stages of this game. I guess we're kind of in the middle parts, but still got to keep it within striking distance.
Lee 0 for 1 today so far. And now the 1-1 from Sommers. Fouled back of the plate and out of play. It's 1-2 on this sidewinding left-hander. Coming in with that arm angle at about, 9 o'clock on the clock face. A little bit lower than you'd expect from a classic over-the-top guy. And Lee, the first Orleans hitter who's having to deal with this new look. Down in the count, 1-2. Sommers deals. Softly fouled left side. And Lee, grimacing to himself a little bit, got that pitch off the fists. You know he's got some bees in his hands right now on a
Oh,
cold
yeah.
day like this.
Take away the weather. Anything you get jammed like that on the top part of your bat, away from the barrel, that's what we call a stinger.
Somers trying to give him another one at 1-2. Swing and a miss. Instead, he sits him down on a swinging strike 3. First K in the game for Somers, and there's one away here in the top of the 4th inning.
Now batting the second baseman from Wichita State, number 3,
Brock Rodden now coming to the plate.
Rodden, who came in to pinch hit back in the first game, starting this game at second base.
Rodden, the switch hitter, now hits right-handed against the lefty Somers after hitting lefty against Watts-Brown. One away, base is empty. Somers' first delivery, tails a little bit low and away, and it's 1-0. Facing lefty pitching is what Rodden liked to do this spring at Wichita State. 55 games, hit .338 in total, but against left-handers from that side, hit .373. He fouls this offering back, and it's 1-1.
Still getting a lot of foul balls. As you mentioned, the fans at Falmouth, here at Guv Fuller, very active and ready to roll in this doubleheader, and they're getting some souvenirs.
Rodden, a guy who I was surprised we didn't see much of in game 1. He made just 1 plate appearances and popped out on a bunt attempt. 1-1 to him is grounded to the right side. Walsh wins the race to the bag, and there's out number 2 here in the top of the 4th.
He made that a little closer just because Rodden really gave him a hard 90, as you can say.
Well, he hustled down the line, and Walsh, with plenty of time, was able to get there. 2 down, bases empty, top of the 4th inning, and Garrett Pennington, the batter, 0 for 1 in this game, struck out to end the second. Did not appear in game 1 earlier today. Somers looking in. His first delivery is softly bounced on a check swing, foul to the right side.
That pitch had some movement on it.
There's that slider with that sharp sweeping action that Somers employs, his primary breaking pitch. One of the weapons that helped him in 23 games with Central Arizona. Hit a 2.04 ERA in 53 innings. Struck out 92 in 53 innings. So he was a strikeout weapon this spring. Now the 0-1. Bounces low, and it's 1-1.
It's like, does anybody want that ball behind home plate? There we go. We got one.
Well, the more patient these hitters get, and the more foul balls they tip off, the
Yeah.
more souvenirs are going to get to these fans. Wareham sure saw a lot last night. Softly bounced to short. Ahuna picks and throws, and the inning is over. Top of the 4th ends 1-2-3. Go the Firebirds. Somers sits him down in order as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Peyton, Walsh, and Pinckney due up for the Commodores, who trail 2-0.
Your favorite song?
My favorite song. Proud to be an American. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And what's your favorite breakfast food?
Oh, my favorite on the West Coast. I don't know if it's a thing back east, but Spam.
Wheels or doors?
I think wheels, honestly, because you use wheels like more than I feel like you would use doors, because if you're moving things around, more than likely it's on a wheel.
Well, welcome back to Guv Fuller Field, where the Falmouth Commodores trail the Orleans Firebirds, heading into the bottom of the 4th by a score of 2-0. Offense has been hard to come by today in this Father's Day doubleheader. Firebirds took the first game today by a score of 3-2. Currently 2-0 right now, and the Commodores only have 2 hits off of Orleans left-hander Ben Shields, who's on for inning number 4. And Logan, the trend today is that the Commodores have had a really rough go against left-handed arms on the Orleans side. They chipped away at right-handed starter Cole Stallings in the first game, but in the second pitcher and the third pitcher in game 1, they were 2 for 14 with 7 strikeouts at the plate against a pair of left-handed relievers. So far against Shields, they're 2 for 9.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's left-handers. Struck out 9 combined times in the first game. Got a lefty on righty. Got to take advantage of it right here.
Jack Payton, the DH and cleanup hitter, lines the first pitch he sees softly to short. Wilson plays it on a hop, and the throw in time. 1 away very quickly here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And an uncharacteristically impatient at bat from the Commodores, at least in recent days.
Absolutely, and with the way they were not just swinging the bat last night, it also came with the way the runs were being scored. Because you mentioned that 8th inning, only 1 hit, but 5 runs scored.
So Jacob Walsh, another left-handed hitter, first baseman hitting 5th today. About to get his cracks in against Shields with 1 away. And the Orleans left-hander misses low for ball 1. Walsh looking for his first hit in game 2. He's 0 for 1. 0 for 3 in game 1. The 1-0. Grounded to second. Rodden plays a tricky hop, and there's 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, now here's the only extra base hit from game number 2, that being Andrew Pinckney. But he also had that outstanding read on the bases as that ball kind of hung around there in right field a little bit longer than it should have as he swiped second on what really should have been a single.
A double goes in the books for Pinckney on what was a flare to right field that fell in between Pennington and right, and Rodden going out from second. He hits with 2 outs and the base is empty. Commodores trailing 2-0. First offering to him doesn't clip the outside corner, and it's 1-0.
Little smirk there. That location could not have been more perfect on the first strike. Outside part of the strike zone, right where it's borderline. Should I take it or should I swing?
Shields peering in. His 1-0. A little bit low again, and it's 2-0.
Commodores with just 2 hits today, Pinckney being one of them. The other one came from Maui Ahuna. So they got to get these bats rolling here. Only 4 hits in the first game.
And that single by Ahuna up the middle wasn't hard hit either. It was a little slow dribbler that just did barely make it into center field. Pinckney ahead in the count, 2-0. Swings and misses a big cut, and it's 2-1.
I believe it looks like almost like a split finger coming in the strike zone, then dropping down, getting Pinckney a little bit.
Shields has changed speeds effectively today, and he's had good location. The 2-1. Fouled left side. Pinckney caught the brunt of that inside pitch, and it's 2-2.
That was that lefty on righty fastball that he just pulled. Usually the most common result if you're going to put that ball in play towards the infielder in foul territory usually goes to the left side.
But Shields has used that inside corner to good effect today. He's been throwing inside, throwing outside, locating well, and keeping the Commodores off balance. And this team could have staked claim to be the hottest one in the Cape after last night's win. They put up 12 runs on the Wareham Gatemen. But they've been kept in check today, not only in game 1, but so far here in game 2.
There was a team yesterday that fell 11-0. I believe it was YD.
Shields the 2-2. Lined into left center field. That'll drop a base hit. Pinckney rocketing around first. He's making the turn for second, and he just does beat the throw. Another double for Andrew Pinckney, his second in as many at-bats in game 2. And the Commodores have a man in scoring position and 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
Will have a day. Did not play in game 1, game 2. Pair of doubles in scoring position. Not trying to do anything crazy. But McKenzie going to try and just at least bring him home as the left fielder, Keishel, fielded that ball out there. He was able to get it in, make a contested throw.
Pinckney an opposite field double, and now one to the left side. He stands at second with 2 away in a 2-0 game. Orleans leads. McKenzie swings at the first pitch and drives it towards the gap in right field. Pennington dives and can't get it. It rolls all the way to the wall. Pinckney has scored. McKenzie makes the turn at second and now heads back. RBI double by Anthony McKenzie here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's 2-1 Orleans.
Boy, this kid is just staying hot. Had a very fine day yesterday. 4 runs batted in. He came off the bench in the first game today, extended the game with a base hit the other way. He's made this a 1-run ball game. And the energy in that dugout has been a little bit different these past couple of days. They're having some fun in there. Granted, they are still trailing 2-1.
The Firebirds lead it by a run, and Jacob Cozart at the plate with McKenzie at second. First pitch swinging and fouls at right side.
He's been taking some good at-bats like you mentioned earlier in the game. Had that walk back in the 3rd, but he was looking good last night.
And that walk is about as much as any left-handed hitter has done off Shields so far today. Pinckney, the right-hander, doubled. McKenzie batting from the right side, just doubled him in. Shields the 0-1. Fouled back of the plate again. Cozart on it, but now down in an 0-2 hole.
Well, now he's just got to work it. He just has to get the count even, get the count deep, and go from there.
Shields trying to strand the runner and keep his Firebirds in the lead. The 0-2. Tapped softly to second base. Rodden rushing in, and the throw in time. And the 4th inning comes to a close, but not before the Commodores get a run on 2 doubles, and we head to the top of the 5th. It's 2-1 Firebirds.
Hey there, Commodore fans. Thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll doors.
Well, welcome back to Guv Fuller Field, where the Falmouth Commodores trail the Orleans Firebirds today in Game 2 of this Father's Day doubleheader. But the Doors just made things a little bit more interesting with a run in the bottom of the 4th, courtesy of Andrew McKenzie, who doubled in Andrew Pinckney. Anthony McKenzie, I should say. And Drew Sommers back on the mound for inning number 2. He sat down Orleans in order back in the 4th inning, 1 via strikeout and 2 ground balls. So his Door debut, at least in the 1st inning, went pretty well.
Yeah, he's looking to keep it going because, like I said, you want to keep this game within striking distance because you're in the middle parts of the game. A lot of baseball left, and we saw how crucial those gaps are. I talked about this a couple of games ago, how you don't always have to have a home run or walks or anything, but if you're able to find the gap, good things happen.
Yeah, so Andrew Pinckney doubled, and Anthony McKenzie doubled him in.
A's.
Quite a combo there.
Camden Minacci is warming up in the Falmouth Commodores bullpen. The Demon Deacon.
Another guy who would make his debut if he comes in today. Sommers dealing with Diego Baquero, who chops the first pitch to second base. Halter, good pickup, and the throw on the money. Out number 1 here in the top of the 5th.
That 4-3 ground out for both sides in this second game have been a real big factor in playmaker. 2 4-3 ground outs committed by the Orleans offense. And then on the other side, for the Falmouth offense, they've also committed 2 4-3 groundouts.
Well, quick groundouts a result of aggressive at-bats. Orleans coming into a day as a team that's almost impossible to walk. Tied for last in the league in bases on balls with YD entering the day. Sommers, first pitch to Burns, who squares to bunt. But it sails low, and it's 1-0.
YD's starting to heat up a little bit. They got their first 2 wins, and they had a walk-off win the other night. The Red Sox and Yarmouth Dennis.
1-0 from Sommers. This one stays high and away, and it's 2-0 on the Orleans catcher. Connor Burns hitting 9th today, 0 for 1 in Game 2. Grounded out to short his first time up. YD's been a confusing team so far because there have been days where they've looked great. But you look at their record, and they still have a losing mark. 2-0, clips the outside corner, and it's 2-1.
Well, there was some really weird history that took place yesterday in YD when it came to hit batsmen.
I heard about this.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
What was it, 7 hit batters through 4 innings? Burns swings and misses that offering, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, it was seven hit by pitches, which is the most in a single game in the era of point streak. And those 7 hit batsmen was just through 4 innings. So it was really early in that game.
2-2. Awfully close
Good
for
spot.
Sommers. Didn't get the call, and it's 3-2.
That was in a game against Harwich yesterday where the Red Sox, and like you said, the confusing part, they were up 8-0 at the time when that record broke.
Yeah, they really put a hurting on the Mariners in more ways than one yesterday. 3-2. A little bit low. Good spot from Sommers, but Burns wouldn't go after it, and it's a 1-out walk here in the top of the 5th inning.
Still a great location. I guess you could say great spot. It's been some great pitching today, really. They've been low-scoring games, and isn't that usually the trend of 7-inning doubleheaders?
Sure seems like it.
They're weird scoring. They're low. They're always close.
Well, it kind of crunches everything together. So you see the better relievers come on a little earlier in the game. You have less time to really get after a starter. And for example, you don't see guys stay out there too long if they start a game, get quick hooks. Travis Honeyman now at the plate, takes strike 1, and it's 0-1. And the unfortunate consequence of walking the number 9 hitter is that now Sommers has to deal with the top of this Orleans lineup, and that begins with Honeyman, who has an infield single and a sacrifice fly to his credit here in Game 2.
He's had a day in this second game that's a little more like his ways in the beginning part of the 2022 season.
Sommers with the 0-1, and the fastball strays high and away. It's 1-1. Honeyman's just done about everything he can offensively today. At least he's got 1 in a lot of different categories. He's got a base hit. He's got a hit by pitch, a walk, RBI, sacrifice fly. Hopefully in this at bat he doesn't add anything to a double, triple, or home run, at least not on point streak. With Burns over at first base and 1 away here in the top of the 5th. And they pitched out to try to catch Burns napping, but Cozart couldn't hang on, and it's 2-1.
Was he behind the dish when that happened yesterday, or that happened, was it Hyannis? It was a recent game where they pitched out and he couldn't make the transfer.
Well, we've seen plenty of balls sail away from catchers early on in this season as they get acclimated to the pitchers, but there were some pitches like that happened in Hyannis. Of course, that one in the 9th, the most noteworthy of them. Burns hasn't strayed from first. 2-1 pitch to Honeyman comes inside on a good spot for Sommers. Caught him flinching a little bit, and it's 2-2.
Now would be a great time to get that second punchy, get that second strikeout.
He got Bennett Lee to lead off the top of the 4th with a K. Honeyman not exactly a punch-out candidate. He did sit down on strikes to lead off Game 1. 2-2. Fouled back, and it stays 2-2.
Well, we saw what happened the last time a batter in the top part of the Orleans lineup worked a 2-2 count that was pretty lengthy, it resulted in a solo home run. That was the man on deck, Jacob Wilson.
I think Sommer's ideal situation here is that he can roll a double play and get out of this. One of the scary things about Honeyman, though, is that you know he can swing a wood bat. He won a batting title last summer with the Ocean State Waves out of the New England League. Hit .430 in 30 games. 2-2, fouled back again, and he stays alive. So you don't go 40 for 93 in summer ball if you can't foul off some pitcher's pitches.
Was that just like a home run derby they had during their All-Star break, or was that just something they did? I mean, that's the New England League. As you see down in the bullpen, the new fella Camden Minacci warming up in the pen for the Falmouth Commodores. The Wake Forest men are here, all on the Cape.
2-2. Fouled again, spoiled by Honeyman. Putting up quite an at-bat here.
This is making me nervous.
He's certainly seeing the ball out of the hand from Sommers, at least fairly well. Hasn't really been fooled on anything yet. If you're Sommers, you know you got him flinching on the inside corner of that one pitch, but if you try to go inside and miss, this is a guy who can deposit one over the fence. Maybe put a dent out there in that electronic scoreboard if you're not careful. Burns has been glued to first this whole time. He walked in the last plate appearance here in the top of the fifth with one away. 2-2. In there for strike three called. No argument from Honeyman. He'll take his seat as the second out here in the top of the fifth. And Jacob Wilson now strolling up to the plate.
I should tell my friends back at Thousand Oaks, hey everybody, Jacob Wilson went yard today. A lot of people at the university I attend went to Thousand Oaks High School, so be curious to see if any of them know Jacob Wilson.
He hits with two down and a runner at first. First offering to him, down low for a strike called, and it's 0-1. Well, he could certainly let all those folks back in California know right now if he puts another hurt on a ball like he did back in the third inning with a solo home run. 0 for 3 in game one with a walk. Hitting in the number 2 spot now in game 2. Sommers 0-1. Fouled a rocket right side over the Falmouth dugout, but quickly ahead in the count. Sommers 0-2.
Well, he hit that home run off of Watts-Brown. GCU, believe they play Long Beach State a little bit during the regular season for one series, whether that be out in Arizona or in California.
Well, Wilson has hit ever since he stepped foot over there at Grand Canyon University. The 0-2. Spoiled again, fouled off the plate. Count stays 0-2.
He did ground out back in the first inning. That was one where Maui Ahuna gathered it and said, hey, I got to fire this a little bit quicker so there's no infield single because Wilson can fly down the line.
Ahuna's had to think about a couple of those plays. He tends to tap the ball in his glove at least once before he throws, and it's hurt him a couple times over the last couple days, but I'm sure you can adjust that the more you do it. The 0-2 to Wilson. Chopped over the back of the mound. Ahuna steps on second for out number 3. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Sommers puts up another 0 and holds the Firebirds off. Now let's see if the Doors can respond, trailing 2-1.
Hottest take.
Hottest take is that a straw has 2 holes, not 1.
What is your favorite place in Falmouth?
My favorite place in Falmouth right now, I would say, is Shoreway Acres Inn. A bunch of us, the interns, are staying there, and we're having such a great time getting to know each other.
Can you give me your best British accent?
Scott Sterling.
Is cereal a soup?
No, it's cereal. It's its own thing, right? What soup have you had with milk in it?
Well, welcome back to Guv Fuller Field, where the trailing Falmouth Commodores have only so many more outs to work with here in Game 2 of this Father's Day doubleheader. They're behind the 8 ball right now against the Orleans Firebirds, 2-1. And they're going to have to take some better cracks off of left-handed starter Ben Shields, who's now on for inning number 5, Logan. He's been impressive today.
Boy, this kid has been absolutely dealing. Forced the Falmouth Commodore offense to strand 4 base runners on the bases. He's worked around a couple of hits. He did give up that RBI double to Anthony McKenzie, but he's been that contact pitcher, only 1 strikeout. And sometimes that's all it takes, and it could be a big factor as to why this game has been going by really fast, because that usually is what happens when you have your low pitch at bats that result in a lot of groundouts. Like I said, those 4-3 putouts.
He's thrown enough strikes to keep this Falmouth lineup off balance that has been trying to take more walks the last couple games. They did that to great effect last night against Wareham, but Shields has been throwing strikes, and Commodores really haven't had a lot to deal with on the bases. They have 4 hits in this game, 3 of them doubles, 2 in the last inning, so maybe there's finally cracks in that armor for Shields as he tries to get through the 5th inning. This is a pretty long start, at least by the standards we've seen so far this summer.
Through any team, probably.
Yeah. First pitch to Kyle Russell, tails outside, and it's 1-0 on the number 9 hitter for the Doors. 9-1-2 coming up. Russell 0 for 1 in this game, too, playing left. Strikeout victim back in the 3rd. 1-0 is popped up high and foul, first base side over into the Commodore bullpen, and a sliding play made by Connor Burns. Route number 1.
Boy, we had to follow that thing all the way down to the fence, but boy, this kid has been something else at first base for both games for the Firebirds today.
Check that. It's a very familiar name to us. It's Kevin Sim.
Yeah,
so despite all he's done today,
he's been a unit at first. He's made some nice plays, and he's had a couple of ones where he's had a track out there that have been fly balls. That thing just kept on carrying towards the Falmouth Commodore bullpen.
They clear that whole bullpen out as he sprinted over there. There's still the right-hander Minacci getting ready. First pitch to Ahuna as the top of the Commodore order comes around again. Ahuna in this game, too. First action of the day, 1 for 2. Singled his last time up. Shields peering in behind that glove, and here comes the 1-0. Check swing on a breaking ball low and away. They appeal to 3rd. Ryan DeMare says Ahuna did not go. It's 2-0.
Ahuna got a very gentle swing on that single back in the 3rd. It was a slow roller like you mentioned, but nevertheless, a single is a single.
He's put the bat on the ball twice today. Trying to do so again against Shields, who's behind in the count 2-0. This time comes inside and goes too far that direction. It's 3-0.
You heard Ryan Eiley at first say find a way. So do something at a 3-1 count.
If I'm Ahuna, I'm taking right now. He does, but it catches the outside corner for a strike, 3-1.
Must have heard you. I swear they hear us up here, no pun intended, with the windows being open, but they can hear us.
3-1 on the way to Ahuna. And for another strike. So Ahuna trying to work a walk, trying to work the count, but Shields coming back with 2 straight fastballs. Not going to give in, and now this is a key confrontation here with 1 away and the base is empty. Shields shaking something off from Burns behind the plate. The 3-2. In there for strike 3 called. Ahuna takes another seat again, a strikeout victim. First time today he's struck out, but there's 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And Colby Halter tasked with getting something going here with the bases empty and 2 down.
Well, you got to give credit to where credit is due. Shields did a fantastic job coming back from that 3-0 deficit.
Basically just pumped in strikes and told Ahuna, here it is, try and hit it if you can. And Maui couldn't pull the trigger. First pitch to Halter is bunted foul on the left side. You never quite know what you're going to get with this kid, but for a first pitch bunt attempt, you may as well try anything, right? The Doors have been stymied so far in this game. 1 run on only 4 hits, and they've really struggled today against the left-handers on the Orleans side.
Well, Colby Halter hit .243 with Florida this year. Had 11 doubles and 8 home runs. 27 runs batted in, so you just got to find a way sometimes.
0-1. Catches the corner, and it's 0-2. So Shields not wasting pitches or time in this frame. He's gone pretty much right after these hitters, at least since he fell behind Ahuna 3-0. Halter trying to fight off an 0-2 count. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Halter is gone. And we head to the top of the 6th inning. The Commodores go down 1-2-3 again, and they're running out of time with the 6th inning coming up and Orleans up 2-1.
Looking forward to the most with the Commodores is just the chance to work with some really talented people, whether that be on the broadcast team or any other interns. I'm a part of the broadcast team, so I get to work with Trey and Logan. And I think that both of them are just super talented. I'm really happy I get to work with both of them because I feel like I'll learn as much from them as they will from me. And I'm just really excited to be able to improve my craft with 2 guys who are focused on the exact same thing.
My favorite part about being a Commodore intern is that I get to work on not only my videography skills, but also meet and work with other people that are really dedicated to this field of work.
I think just having the opportunity to work with a lot of people that are interested in the sports media business, especially when it comes to baseball. This is the premier league for collegiate players, and I think that getting the opportunity to work with a lot of people from across the country to have this one bond and the love is for baseball and helping these players develop, I think it's going to be something really cool and it's going to be an amazing experience.
T-Mobile is proud to sponsor the Cape Cod Baseball League. T-Mobile is committed to serve those who serve, and that's why they go above and beyond for our active duty military, veterans, and first responders. Visit your neighborhood T-Mobile store or T-Mobile.com to learn more. Back here at Guv Fuller Field, the Arnie Allen Diamond alongside Trey Redfield, today's field reporter, Carter Bainbridge, today's color commentator, Logan Soforenko with you, taking you through the rest of the way. Falmouth trailing the Orleans Firebirds 2-1. Drew Sommer's day is done. 2 innings of work, 2 strikeouts, no hits, no runs, no earned runs, and 1 walk as he gives way to Camden Minacci, the right-hander out of Wake Forest.
Minacci, the second Commodore pitcher of the day, making his summer debut along with Sommers, who just yielded. Minacci out of Wake Forest, a native of Tampa, Florida. Had a really strong season for the Demon Deacons this spring. We've been excited to see this guy get to the mound. 30 games for the Deeks. He put up a 2.18 ERA, so he was stingy with the runs in 45 1/3 innings. Only allowed 11 earned the whole season, walked 18, struck out 59, and held opposing batters to a 2.04 average. So he's relieved. He's come out of the pen for a program that plays at a high level against premier competition. And now in his debut, he's got to hold off the Firebirds for this frame, try to give the Doors a chance to come back.
And especially when it comes to keeping this game just in striking distance, Sommers did a good job of that. And we look over at the Orleans bullpen, kind of hidden behind left field, but we can see if there's a pitcher. There's no one warming up there just yet. And, of course, as soon as I say that, somebody stands up and heads to the mound. It'll be Keishel, the left fielder, then Sim and Lee. First offering is popped up, foul out of play over right in front of a fan, and the kid came up and gave it to the younger kid. Oh, what an act. Ballpark energy wherever you go, whatever level it may be. Falmouth Commodores off tomorrow. They travel to Chatham on Tuesday at Veterans Field. Chatham making their doubleheader up tomorrow. The 0-1 is hit the other way towards the line and slicing, and it drops foul. Anthony McKenzie And there's the dog that the Orleans Firebirds Twitter account said something very funny about. They said, update, a dog has just sat right next to us, and it was indeed that dog. So that dog moving all around the ballpark. It's always fun whenever Major League Baseball or Minor League Baseball has take your pups to the ballpark day.
I wonder how fun it is for him to chase around foul balls.
Oh, yeah. On an 0-2 pitch, Minacci. That pitch is hit the exact same spot, slicing foul, and it drops. And that's what happens when you go to that pitch on the outside part of the strike zone to a right-handed batter. It's going to go the other way. And just like it did these past 2 pitches, on consecutive pitches, that is.
And McKenzie getting his wind sprints in over there in right, having to go into foul ground beyond the bullpen. Minacci's got a fastball and a slider, and occasionally puts some cutting action on that fastball, so it's going to break away from right-handed hitters and in on lefties.
The 0-2. Little excuse me swing is foul, and we'll do the 0-2 again.
So given that his 2 primary pitches that aren't his fastball break away from right-handers, no surprise here that Keishel has been forced to kind of go the other way, as Minacci hasn't given him anything to pull as of yet.
Minacci, the right-hander from Wake Forest. Another 0-2. He froze him with a breaking ball. 1 gone here in the top of the 6th. Oh, man, we've seen some dandies on the inside part of the strike zone via a breaking ball.
We really have, and it only feels like Orleans is up by more because the Doors have been hitting so poorly. But they've only got 2 runs in this game, too. They had only 3 in Game 1. Commodore pitching staff has had one of their better games today, all things considered. They have been throwing some nasty pitches in good locations today.
Sim takes ball 1. The Orleans Firebirds have struck out a combined 7 times through 5 1/3. On a 1-0 pitch, Kevin Sim rips that one high and deep to left center field, and that one is gone. Kevin Sim has himself the home run, and it's 3-1 Orleans.
Well, we just keep on saying his name. He's had a really good day today in both games. Kevin Sim in Game 1, 1 for 1 with 3 walks. This is his 2nd home run of the season, so he's brought over the power from what he showed over at the University of San Diego, where he hit 12 this spring. The guy's just a very well-rounded hitter, and he's brought that skill set out here to the Cape.
Cut on and missed. Minacci gave up 6 home runs this past spring at Wake Forest. So the game's still within striking distance, but in a day where the offense has been non-existent, feels like 6 runs. 0-1. 0-2 now.
It certainly hurts you, and Minacci has had good stuff in this game. He's gotten some ugly swings, especially on that slider. But the pitch he threw Sim was a fastball that was basically middle up. And Sim looked like he was ready for it and got every last bit of it.
0-2 pitch, Minacci. There's a pop-up in the air to shallow right center. And making the catch is Colby Halter. 2 gone. So that's going to bring up Brock Rowden. As you mentioned, the switch hitting second baseman, now batting lefty against the right-hander Minacci.
Yeah, he hit only .322 against right-handers this spring at Wichita State. I was surprised we didn't see more of him in Game 1, but he's made his presence felt here in Game 2.
First pitch he sees is in there for strike 1. He is 0 for 2 on the day, a ground out back in the second, and a ground out back in the fourth. Righty on lefty matchup.
This is a guy you definitely want to keep off base.
1-1. The Falmouth Commodores will have Braden Taylor due up in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, but now with a 2-run deficit, you can't get excited thinking that he could tie it up with a home run.
Broken bat, pop up into shallow center. Making the catch again is Halter. So, the Orleans Firebirds get another run as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Falmouth trailing 3-1.
It is now time to announce some of our game winners from tonight. The winner of the under 9 fast pitch, Griffin Baker at 38 miles an hour. The winner of
Bottom of the 6th inning here at Guv Fuller Field. If you've been following the Cape Cod Baseball League for a while, you would know that Marcus Stroman is one of the best players to ever play for the Orleans Firebirds. Last week, Stroman was inducted into the CCBL Hall of Fame, and his brand, Height Doesn't Measure Heart, actually dresses the Firebirds. When I talked to Orleans manager Kevin Nicholson today, he told me that Stroman is one of the best players to ever play for Orleans and one of the best players he's ever coached. Also, there's Max Fesky, the volunteer assistant coach for the Firebirds, who actually catches Stroman's bullpen sessions in the offseason in Malibu, California. Fesky told me that Stroman is one of the hardest working dudes in the room, and he has a goal, Stroman, of leading Major League Baseball in innings pitched for the next 5 seasons, just trying to give his team a chance to win. Stroman was a star that shined when he was here on the Cape, and we get to find out who that next star will be soon this season. Guys, back up to you in the booth.
All right, thank you so much, Trey. Marcus Stroman, such an electric player with the Chicago Cubs. You mentioned Fesky, his catching coach. He does stuff with Pepperdine out in Malibu, California. Marcus Stroman actually lives out there, so it's kind of perfect in that connection. But we talked about how long it would be before Ben Shields exits this game, Carter, and it looks like the bottom of the 6th inning, it will be a new pitcher.
Now, the Commodores probably thankful that he's out of the game after 5 innings of 4-hit, 1-run ball, 2 walks and 4 strikeouts as well for the lefty. He looked brilliant today against this suddenly struggling Doors offense that kind of looks like they're back to square one after a couple pretty promising games. And I think for manager Kelly Nicholson on the Orleans side, he's doing a smart thing here, at least with regards to the Firebirds' chances, by putting in another left-handed pitcher, because the Doors really haven't touched any of the 3 lefties they've seen today from the Firebirds' pen, whether that was Conti, Kyle Carr, or now Ben Shields, who started this game. Now they got to deal with Shane Telfer, another left-hander.
So it will be Braden Taylor to face Shane Telfer. First pitch to him. Misses outside. So now you got to start playing with the get 1 run, make it close, bring the tying run up. That kind of thing. If Taylor should reach here. 1-0 pitch. Misses inside. 2-0.
And that Sim home run in the 6th was just huge. I mean, not just for momentum, but there's a big difference between being down 2 and being down 1. Now, we'd be interested to see what Taylor would do here representing the tying run, but now he's got to get on.
That's right down Broadway. So Ben Shields, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, did not hit a batter. On a 2-1 pitch, Taylor takes ball 3.
Well, a 2-run lead also applies if you're Orleans. Telfer has to be careful not to walk Taylor here. Last thing he wants to do is give the Doors a free base runner when they've been sorely lacking in that department today.
3-1 got twisted around, and the count is now full.
It's been the kind of afternoon it's been for the Doors. Taylor just probably swung at ball 4. Almost certainly did so. And now he's going to have to fight back against Telfer with the count full on him.
On a payoff pitch, Taylor hits that one the other way. Keishel is underneath it, and he makes the catch. 1 gone in the bottom of the 6th inning.
A rare offer today for Taylor. Fly out, pop out, fly out. So he's put the bat on the ball, but not accustomed to seeing him go 0 for on base in a game.
So that'll bring up Jack Payton, who flew out in the second and grounded out in the third. He will take strike one. So the Orleans Firebirds picked up their second win in the first game. Falmouth Commodores 2-5. 0-2 now to Payton.
Telfer challenging Payton with a fastball right there. Just serving it up for him. Saying, here, hit it. And Payton just a little bit late on it. Got a base hit his first time up in game one in his debut games today. Since 0 for 4 at the plate. Could go a long way in dusting up that stat line, getting on base here to start something for the Doors.
The 0-2 was cut on and missed. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 6th inning. That'll bring up the first baseman, Walsh. And we talked about the way Walsh came into today's doubleheader with just 1 strikeout. He struck out twice in game number 1.
And 0 for 2 so far here in game 2, and he's going to have to not do what Payton just did, and that's climb the ladder with the fastball that Telfer served him.
That missed outside, 1-0. In this game, he grounded out back in the 2nd and in the 4th. 1-0. Foul behind home plate, 1-1. As it grazed the home plate umpire. Falmouth Commodores, if Walsh is indeed retired here, we'll have Pinckney, McKenzie, and Kozart doing the bottom of the 7th inning. That home run from Sim took the life out of a lot of people in this ballpark. Nice breaking ball, but it misses up, 2-1.
A little bit too high for Telfer. And you wouldn't know it by today, but these 2 games were a matchup not only between 2 last-place teams, but the 2 worst pitching teams in the Cape League, at least by ERA. But offense has been really hard to come by this afternoon.
Well, Walsh has a hitter's count with 2 outs. So we'll see what he does here.
Pitchers like Telfer are a big part of why not a lot of runs have been scored this afternoon. He was sneaky good in his junior year this spring at Pepperdine, 2.45 ERA.
Walsh tried to send that one to the parking lot and the old Falmouth Clippers scoreboard out in right field. So now it's a full count. Payoff pitch. And it's a strikeout. Jacob Walsh thinking he fouled that pitch, and indeed he does not. We go to the 7th inning. 3-1 the score. Orleans on top.
Commodores fans, sharpen your baseball skills with some of America's finest players from the best college programs in the country. Clinic attendees will have opportunities to work on hitting, base running, infield and outfield play, as well as pitching and catching. Attendees will also participate in Commodores Chat, where coaches and players discuss topics like sportsmanship, academics, teamwork, and other issues important to being an all-around player. Clinics are offered Tuesday, June 21st through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. 3 separate clinics will be offered for ages 5 to 14.
Back here at Guv Fuller Field alongside Trey Redfield, our field reporter, and Carter Bainbridge, Logan Soforenko with you. Minacci on to work for his 2nd inning. We are in the top of the 7th. The Falmouth Commodores in the coming week will have a couple of games on the road. They will be at Chatham on Tuesday, then at Cotuit on Wednesday, off day on Thursday, and then they'll go to Brewster to take on the defending champions on Friday. Then they're back home on Saturday against the Wareham Gatemen. And then the 2nd doubleheader of the season will be in YD.
Well, that road stretch has taken on a lot more urgency now, with the Commodores having lost the first game here and 3 outs away from losing the 2nd here against the Orleans Firebirds. And if they do that, they'll be 2-6 heading into the off day with plenty of road games ahead of them. So given that 4 teams make the playoffs from each division, you're not really out of a season until the very end, but ideally the Commodores want to pick it up a notch here because so far in the West, it doesn't look like Hyannis is laying down the way they did the past couple years.
First pitch to Garrett Pennington is in there for strike one. Pennington struck out in the second inning, flew out back in, or grounded out back in the fourth inning. 0-2. Minacci came in this ball game in relief back in the sixth inning. Gave up a solo home run to Sim. 2-strike pitch. Sky high pop up. Will this stay in play? And it's out of bounds on top of the Falmouth dugout. The chatting from the Falmouth dugout saying it's out, 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 out. Letting their first baseman know that they're safe.
Well, it plunked off the roof of that dugout and gave quite a rattle to anybody taking a snooze on that Falmouth bench. Can't say you can blame him with only 9 combined hits in this game. It's gone by quickly with not a lot of scoring.
5 hits for the Orleans Firebirds, and the Falmouth Commodores 1 run on 4 hits. 0-2. Did he go around? He did not. They appealed over to first, and it's 1-2. Thankfully, they did say that he didn't go because he might have gotten a free base over at first with that ball getting behind the catcher Cozart.
And save for the solo home run by Sim, Minacci has looked pretty sharp since coming out of the pen last inning.
The 1-2 skips in, 2-2.
Yeah, that's a pretty good breaking ball that Pennington just laid off of with 2 strikes. And Minacci used his stuff to great effect at Wake Forest this spring. So he knows his stuff plays. He's just got to work on getting better location than he did to Sims.
He got jammed big time there as that one is into center. Pinckney makes the catch as he calls off Halter. 1 gone in the top of the 7th.
0 for 3 day from Pennington. This inning starting with 7 and then going on to the 8 and 9 hitters for Orleans. So for Minacci, a 1-2-3 inning is probably what's best here to avoid sending it back around to Honeyman and Wilson, who have each done damage in this game too.
Pennington did not play in game 1, and he will likely finish game number 2, or he will finish game 2, I should say, with an 0 for 3 day, like you said. So here's Beccaro. He got jammed, but this time it spoiled foul out of play.
Kind of feel for the guys like Beccaro who aren't wearing long sleeves today. He's got a compression sleeve on that right arm, but it's just not the same. Certainly glad we're up here rather than in the dugout having to stand or sit, especially if you're not in the field. I mean, this is a chilly day. Some guys you figure might not have brought warm clothes up here unless they were team issued.
0-1. Good pick there by Cozart. Right now, the pitcher of decision would be the starting pitcher Ben Shields for Orleans. He is in line for the win. Juaron Watts-Brown is in line for the loss and what would be his second on the season. The 1-1. Breaking ball, cut on and missed. 1-2.
Yeah, these days, I mean, you put only so much stock in win-loss record, but if Watts-Brown does end up with the L here, it's not because he pitched all that poorly. It's just because in his 2 starts, the Door offense is basically packed up.
1-2 was cut on and missed. 2 gone in the top of the 7th. He had 2 combined runs between the first 2 games. That 1 run in Harwich was on a pass ball. And then the run today was when Juaron Watts-Brown exited the game, but the McKenzie double made it 2-1 at the time, but now 3-1. It's the second strikeout for Minacci as the catcher from Long Beach State, Connor Burns, digs in. 0 for 1 on the day with a ground out to short and a walk in the 5th. First pitch he sees. Popped up. Twisting foul. Walsh can't make the play. 0-1. And we've seen some crazy plays over there by first base in Hyannis. There was one that twisted all the way near the fence, and he made the catch.
I think anybody who plays over there at first base in this ballpark has to get used to the fence being over there by the bullpen. Anytime anybody runs over there, it's almost like they expect to start running up on the grass. Then they collide with that fence.
0-1. 0-2.
And this an ideal candidate for Menachie to get out of this inning. Burns at Long Beach State this spring as a sophomore hit just 162. He had a dreadful spring offensively, but defensively he was very, very strong. Only 3 errors and gunned down about half the runners who tried to steal on him. So you can definitely hit with a guy like that in your number 9 hole.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Cozart, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. Falmouth only has 3 outs to do it. We'll see if they can as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-1, Orleans on top.
Oh, do your best cartwheel.
I'm not a gymnast. I think I'd pull something if I did a cartwheel.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
I'm going to go with fly, honestly. I think flying would be pretty cool. Be able to be up in the air around everybody, you know, fly with some birds. Be pretty cool stuff, Carson.
Okay, Anders, now do your best and favorite dance move.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Back here at Guv Fuller Field, the Falmouth Commodores trail the Orleans Firebirds 3-1, and they're down to their last 3 outs to avoid being swept on this doubleheader. Shane Telfer's day is done. 1 inning of work, no hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, no walks, and no hit batsman. And he will give it to Chris Clark as Chris Clark will try and get the save for the Firebirds.
Now this Clark's 3rd appearance of the summer. He's already pitched in an inning and 2/3, but they haven't gone all that well for Orleans. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 1, struck out 1. Took the loss in 1 decision. And now he's tasked with getting the save in the bottom of the 7th in a save situation, up by 2 runs. 2 days ago, Clark pitched against YD, went 2/3 of an inning, allowed a run on a hit, walked 1. So his ERA in the summer in very small sample size at 10.8. He could go a long way in improving those numbers here with a lockdown 7th. Did his pitching this spring at Harvard, appeared in 14 games, 4 of them starts. 3.08 ERA in 38 frames. 13 earned runs, 20 walks, 47 strikeouts. Only allowed 2 long balls for the Crimson.
Well, the Orleans Firebirds on the verge of sweeping, but the Falmouth Commodores have different plans because their bottom part of the lineup today has been their producers when it comes to the 2nd game. And Andrew Pinckney, who's swinging the hottest bat, today at least, will lead off this inning.
And funnily enough, here in the bottom of the 7th, it's going to be the 3 most productive hitters here in Game 2 to get things started. Pinckney 2 for 2 with 2 doubles. McKenzie 1 for 2 with an RBI double. And then Jacob Cozart with a ground out and a walk to his credit. So those 3 guys have gotten on base more than everybody else, and now they've got to come up with at least 2 runs before they make 3 outs.
First pitch from Clark. Pinckney takes strike 1. Pinckney a pair of doubles. 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th. On an 0-1 pitch, Pinckney misses that one, 0-2. Well, he took something off of that one.
And that's for sure. And it's been the off-speed and the breaking stuff that's given Pinckney trouble. Last night against Wareham, he laid off it, but couldn't resist offering at that pitch.
0-2. Misses inside, 1-2.
I can't believe that didn't come in and get a piece of his jersey.
Jersey bat, there was a little twist up there. Nevertheless, the count's 1-2. Another 2-strike pitch. He froze him looking. The third straight strikeout for Orleans Firebirds pitchers.
Well, it goes without saying, but Pinckney was not looking for that. When you're swinging badly against breaking stuff, at least he has for most part of this summer, you've got to keep it in your mind that Clark was going to go there on 2 strikes, possibly waste a pitch. Instead, he comes right in and attacks with a fastball, and Pinckney had no chance.
Anthony McKenzie takes ball 1 upstairs. McKenzie had an RBI. That was back in the 4th inning, and it was the lone run of the Falmouth Commodores offense in game number 2. 1-0 misses in, 2-0.
Well, McKenzie doesn't have to come up with a base hit here. He's ahead in the count. He can afford to take a rip on this 2-0 if he'd like. Certainly a hitter's count, but has to remember that a walk will do just as good.
The 2-0. Misses inside, 3-0. Cozart on deck represents the tying run. Falmouth, the home team, could look for some home magic. Alex Mooney does have a helmet in that dugout. 3-0. No green light at all, 3-1. You got to imagine Mooney would come in for Kyle Russell should it get to him.
Now they have 2 outfielders still on the bench, so they could replace him defensively, perhaps.
He comes all the way back, and the count is 3-2.
I guess if there's no extra, it doesn't matter anyway, right?
Exactly, exactly.
May as well let him take his rips.
So now McKenzie's really got to fight here. On a payoff pitch, McKenzie spoils that one foul. And that's another thing you can ask for McKenzie, to work a very fine at bat. Falmouth had some electricity last night at Wareham. They have yet to hit a home run here at Guv Fuller Field, but right now that is the last thing on anyone's mind, trying to extend this game. Another payoff pitch. Grounded to second. Rawdon had trouble fielding it, but he retires McKenzie. He was able to gather, and now it'll be up to Jacob Cozart.
Clark hasn't been overpowering in this bottom of the 7th. We've certainly seen pitchers who throw harder than he does, but it's been the location that's been working for him in this inning. You saw back at the plate, Burns set up low and away for McKenzie on that pitch he just grounded on, and Clark threw it right there. I mean, he's hitting the spots well, and he's counting pitching on the edges, and the Commodores just can't cope with it right now.
Swing and a miss there from Cozart. Commodores with a tough stretch of games coming this week. Oh, 1. Spoiled foul, and they're down to their last strike.
Well, the first pitch in this at bat, I'm not sure Cozart's going to get another one that was that good. Fastball that was tailing a little bit inside, but still caught enough of the plate to where if Cozart was really ready for it, he could have pulled it to right. Instead, he was late.
The 0-2. 1-2 now. Cozart just trying to extend the game. We saw this in game 1 with Anthony McKenzie. He extended the game with a base hit to right. But down to the last strike here in game 2. The 1-2. Good piece of spoiling by Cozart. Falmouth Commodores at risk of falling to 2-6. Got the off day tomorrow.
Well, if there's one candidate to get on base here, it's Cozart. If we learn anything about him, it's that he will spoil some offerings in an at-bat and extend things.
We'll do the 1-2 again. Clark misses low, 2-2. He did force a walk back in the 3rd. And he's just trying to reach Kyle Russell on deck. Two. Strike 3 looking. And that's the ball game. The Orleans Firebirds sweep the doubleheader. Final score in game number 2, 3-1. the winning pitcher Shields, Watts-Brown the losing pitcher, and Clark gets the save.
Well, there's not a lot you can say for the Commodore offense today. It just seems like they used up all their runs and hits last night against the Wareham Gatemen. Only 2 runs in game 1, 1 in game 2. It seemed like things got worse as these 2 games went on. Now, the weather was cold here, but the slump all of a sudden afflicting the Commodores, at least in these 2 games, pretty inexplicable. Some good pitching on the Orleans end, though. You got to give them credit as they threw lefties at the Commodores, hard for them to cope with, and just a bunch of pitchers who weren't walking a lot of guys. They were hitting their spots all day, and the Doors just couldn't quite take their walks the way they did last night.
Well, there it is. The Falmouth Commodores drop the doubleheader, fall to 2-6, and on behalf of all of our talented interns on the screen that you're looking at, Sean Oldred, our director, Trey Redfield, our field reporter, and Carter Bainbridge, Logan Soforenko saying, good night. We'll see you next time. Go Doors.